capacity of the virus, we can make it inert, make it inactive easily. I suggested Thuvanam, that is using smoke. All religious practices we use Thuvam. Is smoking. So many things are available. I have suggested hundreds of herbs which can be used for smoking in the very beginning itself. That smoke particles are bigger and it is having high thermal capacity to destroy the virus. Very simple. Those who followed that, they got the benefit. And so many medicaments. Our pharmacy is so rich, we can make a formula for everybody, assessing everybody's condition. That much flexibility and enormity is not for modern medicine. Only few choices are there. We have got thousands of formulations we can make out depending on the need of the patient. That is the greatest advantage of Ayurveda. We treat the patient and not the disease. Our most important aim is the host, the sufferer or the sick person. All other things are secondary to us. If we can protect them, then everything can be achieved. Other things, other aspects become insignificant. So Ayurveda states one important thing. It is Vyathikshamada. Vyathikshamada. It is not in immunity. It is far beyond that. The system will not act at all. Even if the virus attacks the system, it will not respond. It will ignore that. There will be no change in the person, no symptom, both subjectively and in laboratory. That is Dathathreya. It is not immunity. It is far beyond that. There are cases, in our experience, the whole family is affected, but they are exposed completely, but they never get both laboratory investigations and subjectively also. That possibly is the most important thing in Ayurveda. Vyathikshamada. This is not immunity. It is much more than that. System will never care for that. No immune response will be there because it is protected by Vyathikshamatvam that can be generated with Ayurvedic treatment. Our physically challenged children, many, they were using only Ayurveda. They were not given any modern medicine. They are completely protected. Nobody got it. Nobody. Even one case exception is not there. If at all, one person, this one patient named Christina, she got severe COVID infection, but she became perfectly normal and she became more healthy after COVID infection. So that possibility also we have visualized. COVID infection is a blessing in disguise so that any hidden disease, any chronic disease can be treated in a better way. And the curative possibility will become very high. I want to introduce Dr. my wife Sharada, who was behind all these efforts fully. Only because of her help, everything is going on well. And my colleague and my assistant, Elena, she is looking after all the academic and the practical things, therapy, everything she is managing. So I invite both of them to to participate in the seminar. Thank you.
Yelena can start.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Sharada. And I would like to thank the Mahatma Gandhi University for sharing this platform and allowing us to present the uniqueness of Dathathreya treatment for COVID management. I hope that this presentation will be interesting for you and that it will open some new horizons in COVID management, as it did in Montenegro and Europe. First of all, I would like to ask the participants, has anyone of you had COVID or post-COVID lingering symptoms? And if yes, please raise your hand. So COVID or post-COVID symptoms?
We are requesting feedback from all of you. How many of you had COVID here or lingering post-COVID symptoms? Please raise your hands. Thank you. There is a raise hand button in the bottom. You can press it. Thank you. We are receiving a lot of feedbacks.
Yes, and out of you who had these symptoms, I suppose it's a large number. Anyone used modern medicines? If yes, please raise your hand.
How many of you among them used modern medicines? Please raise your hands. Or rather, how many of you did not use modern medicine at all? We see very few. And with that, we start our presentation to the august audience. Thank you very much. We see that most of you here have enjoyed using modern medicine during COVID and post-COVID conditions. In our experience, the maximum number of patients, more number of patients we could treat in Europe who had COVID and post-COVID symptoms. In India, the interest in Ayurveda was a bit restricted. The possibility to treat also was highly suppressed. So the number might be quite equivalent to Europe, which is quite sad because we have a center in Montenegro, which is a very small country with only 600,000 people living there. And for a huge populated country like India, if the number of patients we have treated is equivalent to Montenegro, it is quite a sad scenario. But that is what it is. I will just give the introduction to the presentation, and then we will go ahead with the case presentations. Okay? So the first part will be the introduction part. The second part will be sharing our experience. Third, we will present the treatment approach. And four, sharing lessons that we learned from COVID management. So in introduction, the COVID and the post-COVID background. What is the lessons available in the world about the way in which COVID has been managed, and the tough questions. Next slide, Yelena. COVID-19 pandemic was declared on 30th of Jan 2019 by WHO. The confirmed COVID cases as of today is 543 million in the world, of which 43 million are from India. COVID-19 deaths are 6 million worldwide and 0.5 million in India. Vaccinated cases were 11 billion in the world and around 2 billion in India. Lessons from COVID management. The approved treatment worldwide were antibiotics and steroids use. Traditional medicine was highly regulated and suppressed in India. In the initial stage, when the COVID pandemic outbreak was there, a letter was circulated among the medical fraternity by the Kerala health minister that Ayurveda institution should not treat COVID cases, and the institution's key must be handed over to modern medicine hospital to admit COVID cases. When all of us know that till date, there is no medicine available in modern science to cure the COVID virus, the COVID infection. The vaccine was considered the only ray of hope available. Through government funding and unregulated mass vaccination was made possible. Unregulated means vaccination is based on a promise of science that the vaccine will work and not based on any definite scientific evidence about its efficacy on persons with comorbidities, people of old age, people who are suffering with chronic diseases. Those kind of researches were not done, and much are not done even now. But still, we have achieved such a huge amount of vaccination worldwide. The third way in which they regulated us was through restrictions, use of masks, hand washing, safe distancing, quarantine, lockdowns, etc. So what are the positive lessons we learned? It did reduce death through regulations and restrictions. The spread of disease was contained through quarantine and lockdown situations. Need for hospitalization was also reduced. But the negative lessons were more than the positive lessons. There was a huge overuse of antibiotics, inappropriate use of steroids. There are long-term effects from long hospitalization period. Many vaccine side effects were ignored, suppressed. Quality of living of people have started to reduce. Post-COVID syndrome, it became a major issue. Post-COVID complications to heart, lungs, neurology, musculoskeletal system, cutaneous system, respiratory systems is a huge problem now. Psychiatric issues have exponentially increased, and respiratory and neurological damages, that is the damage to the systems, are very high, even after using of masks, long-term use of masks. Post-COVID complications has become a major public health concern. We are living in a world of COVID, of post-COVID complication. Once again, can you close that door? Because it's echoing. The percentage of sufferers from post-COVID, more than 50% of COVID sufferers experience lingering symptoms from more than 6 months after recovery. The percentage of sufferers post-COVID, more than 20% suffer even after 30 days from the onset of COVID, and 8% suffer more than 3 months after the onset of COVID. And negative mental health issues due to the pandemic, 1 in 10 persons are having issues with anxiety, depression, and more than half of the women in USA are suffering even now. 3 times increase in depression and anxiety among pregnant and new mothers are there. 7 in 10 women less than 30 years are suffering mentally because of this pandemic situation. Cardiac issues, chest pain and palpitations are among the most commonly reported among the survivors of COVID. Lung issues, 6 in 10 survivors had chest imaging abnormality, and more than a quarter of patients have difficulty in breathing. GIT issues related to lack of appetite, diarrhea, stomach pain, vomiting are very common among survivors, even amongst our patients. Mobility issues, 1 in 5 survivors has decreased mobility. And neuro issues, 1 in 4 survivors have issues in concentration and thinking processes. The general quality of living in more than half of the COVID survivors have reported weight loss, fever, fatigue, and pain. So we are asking the really tough questions here. Number 1, how many of us have truly recovered from COVID-19? Number 2, how to overcome the future misery in this COVID world? Number 3, what is the way forward in this COVID conundrum? With that, I want to say that a large amount of our the next set of our presentation, where we'll be sharing a lot of our experience. We met many patients suffering from post-COVID complications. We feel that it is a surprise that the world is still living in problems related to COVID, when indeed that we are proud to say that many of our patients don't have this kind of problems. And that is what we want to bring to your light through our presentation. I hand over the mic to Yelena to take you through our experience of treating COVID in Montenegro. Basically in Montenegro, a few Indian cases are also there, but basically the content is from Montenegro. Yelena.
Okay. So we will show you statistics on COVID-19, but also post-COVID patients treated by Dathathreya Heritage, how successful our treatment is, and we will show you interesting cases and what patients speak about our treatment. So statistics of patients on preventive, protective, and curative treatment for COVID-19 at Dathathreya Center in Europe.
Yelena, your voice is sometimes going in and out.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but it just moves in and out. It becomes low and becomes high.
Okay, I will try to fix it.
Okay.
In this slide, we will show you the number of patients treated for COVID-19 in Europe. Total number of patients in these 3 years is 544, out of which you see in 2020 it is 165, in 2021 202, and in these 6 months of 2022 177. Percentage of patients protected from or survived from COVID-19 infection without any complication. Primary contacts, preventive or curative treatment, 100%. Persons on preventive or curative treatment, also 100%. High-risk patients, 93%. Low-risk patients, allopathy treatment together, 97%. Low-risk patients on Ayurveda treatment since onset, 98%. Profile of patients protected or treated for COVID-19 at Dathathreya Center in Europe. So according to WHO, people who are at high risk of getting COVID are older people and those with underlying medical problems like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, chronic respiratory disease, cancer. We have treated and protected patients with all these comorbidities, plus more, successfully. Cancer patients, 16%. Rare diseases, 6%. Children, 14%. Older people, 28%. Diabetes patients, 22%. And chronic respiratory disease patients, 34%. Regarding post-COVID complications treated at the Dathathreya Center in Europe, this is the number of patients treated for post-COVID complications. Till now, it is 318. In 2020, there were only 12 people, but then in 2021, 101. And in these first 6 months of 2022, already 205 patients. Statistics, post-COVID complications treated at the Dathathreya Center. Post-COVID patients with 1% of recovery categorized based on period from disease onset. So since the first day of COVID infection, and their second period of recovery in days. So the patients who started our treatment from day one, 97% of them recovered in 20 days. Patients who started our treatment after 1 month of infection. So in 100 days, 92% of patients recovered. And people who started our treatment after 1 and more years of infection, it took 200 days for recovery. 89% of them recovered. Post-COVID patients, percentage of recovery in high risk and low risk categories. In high risk patients, 94% of them recovered. Low risk patients, 98%. Profile of post-COVID patients treated at the Dathathreya Center in Europe. According to WHO, organs that are mostly affected by post-COVID syndrome are respiratory, cardiovascular, neuro, skin, and endocrine system. We have treated post-COVID patients with all these complications, plus more, successfully. Patients with respiratory complications, 28%. Cardiovascular complications, 16%. Neurovascular complications, 22%. Skin complications, 6%. Endocrine complications, 14%. And others, 14%, including motor functions, depression, immune system, etc. So what are actually the successful outcomes of Dathathreya treatment for COVID-19 and post-COVID complications? Existing COVID symptoms, everything is resolved except fatigue within 7 to 21 days. Post-COVID lingering symptoms, it is resolved in 20 to 200 days. Need for hospitalization, no case. Complications or impairment of any organ or system, no case. Mobility affected, no case. Quality of living improved, and we have very impressive testimonials to show that. Fatality, we have 3 cases. All of them were moved to hospital on family compulsion, and unfortunately, they lost their life. So this first case study I would like to show you is COVID infection and with a history of tuberculosis. He had tuberculosis 3 years ago. And then in 2020, he developed also COVID. At the beginning, you can see the photograph of his bronchovascular markings on the lungs. It was increased, left mid-zone haziness. This patient was completely on our Dathathreya treatment. Even though his family insisted for him to go to hospital, he refused. So after 3 months of our treatment, repeated X-ray shows consistent transparency without signs of infiltrations of parenchyma. His symptoms were fever, it was very high, almost 41 degrees Celsius, fatigue, body ache, lower back pain, pneumonia, elevated inflammatory markers. You can see in the chart his inflammatory markers. For example, thrombocytes, it was 178. It was at one point even 568, and then came to normal. D-dimer went up to 218, also came back to normal. Ferritin was 1096, also came to normal. And CRP actually was the least fluctuating in his case. As I said, he did not use any modern medicines. He was only on Dr. Raghavan's treatment, on herbal medicines and dietary restrictions. Results, complete recovery. This is his testimonial.
Dr. Raghavan is a brilliant physician. My whole family believe in Ayurvedic treatment, but at some point it was also hard to get family on board because COVID-19 is an unknown disease, and we have a lot of fear surrounding its treatment and recovery process. Nevertheless, Dr. Raghavan's presence and his way of treatment was highly reassuring. I also want to say that my wife is Italian, and she was so skeptical about Ayurveda. But as she saw me progress, she hugged me and said that she was happy that I followed my gut and followed the Ayurvedic treatment. I would like to express my utmost gratitude to Ayurveda, Dr. Raghavan, Dathathreya team for helping me regain my health.
So this next case, this is the very high police officer in Montenegro on very high position. He was not treating for COVID in Dathathreya, but for post-COVID cardiac complications. He started his symptoms were fever, memory loss, breathlessness. He could not climb up the stairs, headaches, and ejection fraction was only 20%. He came after 2 months of COVID infection, and actually his wife told us that modern doctors are giving him only 6 months of living, and that they should use it in the best possible way. He used antibiotics for COVID-19, and he was suggested angioplasty. He started our treatment, herbal medicines, and also dietary restrictions. After 1 year of treatment, his EF went up to 42%. So even that doctor, modern doctor, cardiologist, wanted to meet our Dr. Raghavan to discuss and help other patients with similar symptoms as this guy. So his results are fatigue is absent, he is more energetic, effort tolerance improved, sleep improved, focus improved. Angioplasty was not done as advised by Dr. Raghavan. This is a case study of long COVID with episodes of repeated infections and febrile seizures. He's 51 years old. Medical history, malaria in 2002, chikungunya in 2012, and he is type 2 diabetes. Sequence of events: in March 2021, he received first dose of COVID vaccine. In April 2021, he was COVID positive. In June 2021, second dose of COVID vaccine. Again, in July 21 and October 21, he had repeated fevers. His fever went up to 103. Anosmia he had, loss of appetite, body pain, headache, generalized weakness, and febrile seizures. Past treatments, he was using antibiotics. Our treatment, only herbal medicines and dietary restrictions for the period of 13 days. In this chart, you can also see how his inflammatory markers went up and back to normal. The results: no lingering symptoms after 13 days. He is active and resumed office. Advised to follow up for the next 1.5 years, and he was having no symptoms. This is a very interesting case study. I think the lady is here with us today. COVID and post-COVID, and hypoglycemia in geriatric cases. So she is 93 years old lady with medical history of type 2 diabetes. First, she was 1 week on Ayurveda medicines. After that, 9 days she was hospitalized due to family compulsion. 3 weeks on Ayurveda medicines, and hypoglycemia was 3.8 millimoles. 3 days she was in hospital after that, and she continues our medicines till today. So symptoms: she had severe body pain, pitting edema in foot, cough, cold, blood sugar was low.
ஆமாம் அதை நான் உங்களுக்கு சொல்லிடுறேன். டிஸ்பேச் பண்ணணும். இது கவர்ஸ் வந்து ஜிப்லாக் கொஞ்சம் அட்ஜஸ்ட் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. ஏதோ 50.
You switch off the. Can you mute your mic, Raghavan?
ஒரு செட் ஆஃப் கவர்ஸ் இருக்கும் மெலிசா. அப்புறம் இருக்கு அதே சைஸ் 18-12. அதை வச்சு ஒரு 4-5 கவர்ஸ் மட்டும் மாத்திக்கிற மாதிரி.
Mr. Saravanan, please mute your mics. Mr. Saravanan.
I'm sorry. So our treatment was herbal medicines and dietary restrictions. Results: her lungs were perfectly protected. SpO2 was always above 95% throughout the infection period. Lungs functions normal. Pitting edema disappeared. She could walk 5 rounds around her house daily. Blood sugar level came to normal and maintained. So this is her after the infection. This is another very interesting case study, saving an IAS officer and losing several others due to politics in COVID treatment. He is 42 years old, no medical history. So he is a high IAS officer. He was in a team with 52 people in 3 locations during election times. When they were in Bengal, they were all infected with COVID. He was 42 years old. He was treated completely by Dathathreya Heritage. He was having fever, muscle pain, breathlessness, loose motion, headache. SpO2 even went below 90, so he was disoriented. He did not have the will to breathe. Doctor was in contact communication with him even 3-4 times during the day, because he literally said that he does not have any will to breathe. After that, in 21 days, he actually resumed duties. He did not take any modern medicines, only herbal and dietary restrictions. All his symptoms resolved. He joined duty and posted in extreme climate within 21 days post-infection with no consequences. At the same time, as you can see in his written testimonial, I was tested COVID positive. My team of 52 persons also tested COVID positive. I lost 18 of my colleagues who were treated with modern medicines. They did not want to start Ayurvedic treatment, even though they were advised, because they said that it is not in the protocol of modern medicine. 24 are currently at hospital, of which 8 are in critical condition. Out of 52 colleagues, no one is fit to join duty till date now. And he joined after 21 days of infection. This is a COVID-19 complication. This lady had a history on chronic kidney disease. She was in ICU. She was 100% on ventilator when she started our treatment. She was not conscious. Kidney failure and dialysis started. Urea was 97, serum creatine 7.9. She was given antibiotics in hospital, steroids, and Ayurveda medicines. Results: patient retained on a ventilator and personalized medicine started. She was extubated in 3 days, and serum creatinine and blood urea came to normal. As you can see in the chart, this is the quote from her son. Good evening, doctor. Mom's health is improving. As per hospital staff, the oxygen level is improving. The oxygen support is reducing. Today, they have not performed the dialysis. Even ventilator support, they are reducing. Thanks a ton. I don't have words to thank you. You are God to me. This is a case from Montenegro, post-COVID depression. She is a young girl, 16 years old, with cerebral palsy, very happy and positive girl. She always smiles, and literally she brings joy to our clinic when she comes. But after getting COVID infection, she had very mild symptoms. She developed depression. She did not smile. She was crying all the time. So it was very, very difficult for all of us to see her like this. During COVID, she was having only a temperature 37, only for 3 days, headache, sound sensitivity, appetite poor, muscle pain. For 1 month, she was having depression. She did not use any modern medicines or any Ayurveda treatment, Dathathreya Ayurveda treatment, herbal medicines, and also dietary restrictions. As a result, all symptoms except emotional issues resolved in 15 days, and depression resolved in 30 days. So when she regained her smile back, we made a small party for her. This is a case study of a long COVID infection, 60 plus days, elevated body temperature. Male, 45 years old, medical history, unhealthy eating habits and lack of exercise. His symptoms were consistent and persistent increased body temperature of 99 to 100 or more for 2 months. As you can see in the chart, diary that he was having, agitated, discoloration of the tongue, sleep disorder, anxiety. Past treatments, long use of strong antibiotics and steroids. Our treatment, also herbal medicines and dietary restrictions. As a result, he was less agitated, normal body temperature, more motivated, general health is better, and sleep is normal. This is his testimonial.
3 to 4 months when I had persistent fever, and I think this problem of low-grade persistent fever with some of the mild symptoms of heavy breathing, anxiety, sleep disorders are very common across the globe, and the way I think you treated was great. I didn't have any other side effects because I was actually not taking any medicines in generic, but he got it cured for a very specific problem, and I felt that kind of a trust in him, and now he has become kind of a family doctor for me.
Another case study of repeated COVID-19 infections. She had it 2 times. She's 39 years old. History, hormonal and emotional issues. Her symptoms were both times not very serious. So she had fever, body ache, increased inflammatory markers, digestion issues, hair fall. Past treatments, she did not use any modern medicines, only Dathathreya Ayurveda treatment. Our treatment also consisted of herbal medicines and dietary restrictions. As a result, she now doesn't have any symptom, inflammatory markers are normal, no complications. So her D-dimer went up to 1.05 and then came down to normal, 0.43. Ferritin level went up to 53 and came down to normal, like all the other inflammatory markers. This is another very famous person from Montenegro who came for post-COVID treatment with us. He had corona 1 year ago, 51 years old. He doesn't have any symptoms, his medical history, just mild COVID symptoms. But after that, he developed extreme fatigue, constant and disturbing buzzing in the ears for last 1 year since COVID infection. And also BP was 160 with 100, and he did not want to take antihypertensive drugs. Past treatments, he was having antibiotics when he was COVID infected. Our treatment, herbal medicines and dietary restrictions. As a result, after 100 days, he is more energetic, BP is stabilized, and he doesn't have ear buzzing anymore. His testimonial, he says that buzzing in the ears after corona was making me crazy. I was so nervous. Now when it is gone, I feel alive again. He is politician and also basketball coach in Montenegro. This is also long COVID case for +1+ years due to antibiotic resistance, due to overuse and inappropriate use. She is 25 years old. Her medical history is repeated infections, just mild COVID symptoms she had. Her symptoms are persistent and consistent increased body temperature of 37 to 37.5 degrees. She is very agitated, resistant to antibiotics due to overuse, and often strong headaches. She past treatments, long use of strong antibiotics and steroids for many years. Our treatment consisted of herbal medicines and dietary restrictions. As a result, she is less agitated, normal body temperature, more motivated, general health is better, didn't have new infections, and headaches are almost gone. Post-COVID case also, musculoskeletal, brain fog, and cognitive issues. She's a lady, 71 years old. She had COVID pneumonia, and she was admitted in hospital for 21 days. Also, her medical history is high BP and discus hernia. She came for post-COVID treatment after 1 year. Her symptoms were extreme fatigue, brain fog issues, trouble focusing, confusion, depression, mental fatigue, memory loss, depression, pitting edema in the foot, pain in the upper back. Past treatment, she used antibiotics for COVID. Our treatment, herbal medicines and dietary restrictions. As a result, she has more energy, BP stabilized, no fluid retention, no back pain, and she is mentally stable. She actually told me that I feel inner joy for the first time after losing my son 10 years before. She was very happy after only 1 month of using therapy. She is continuing. This is also post-COVID syndrome for after 8 months of infection. Female, age 51. Medical history is high BP. Fever, dyspnea, cough, insomnia, loss of appetite, body pain, headache, fatigue. Past treatments also antibiotics. As a result of our treatment, all symptoms subsided, no COVID complications, and inflammatory markers are normal. His testimonial is written in our language, so I translated it. I want to thank Dr. Raghavan for helping me get my life back to normal. Thanks to the heavens. He is from Montenegro. And this is a couple, old age couple, treatment with comorbidities. He's a male, age 75, his wife 72. Medical history for the husband was high cholesterol, allergy, bronchitis, asthma. He was hypertensive. And for the wife, also high BP and back pain. They were treated for COVID. They had fever, 37.5, runny nose, cough, body ache and extreme fatigue. Past treatments, they used antibiotics for COVID for 2 days. After 2 days of infection, they started our treatment with herbal medicines and dietary restrictions. After 5 days of herbal supplements, symptoms disappeared. Appetite was normal, inflammatory markers perfectly normal. This is the whole family treated by Dr. Raghavan for COVID symptoms. Father is 52 years old. He had low back pain. Medical history is low back pain, neck pain, and generalized body pain. His symptoms were 38.5 temperature and body ache. He did not use any modern medicines, neither any of his family members. Results after 15 days, antigen test negative, antibody test also, D-dimer, CRP, AST, ALT, LDH were all normal. Patient had high LDH, 6 to 8. Before COVID, this became normal. His wife, her medical history is also low back pain and anxiety issues. She was also having fever of 38 and pressure in the chest, joint and muscle pain and anxiety. After 7 days, her symptoms disappeared and anxiety reduced to minimum. Their son, with no medical history, he had 37 degrees temperature, loss of sense of smell and taste. Symptoms disappeared, regained sense of smell, regained sense of taste in 2 days. Their younger daughter, age 7, no medical history, she only had fatigue and symptoms disappeared within 5 days. This is a lady with a history of Hashimoto, this post-COVID condition, brain fog, exhaustion, and sleep issues. She also came for post-COVID treatment. She was having fatigue after COVID, memory loss, exhaustion, headaches. She was using antibiotics for COVID. As a result of our treatment, she has more energy, fatigue is not there, sleep excellent, concentration improved, and she has the will to live and be productive. This is the lady, 72 years old, only on our treatment for maybe 1 month. She was having, before COVID, pain in the back and knee and high blood pressure. After COVID, she developed fatigue, memory loss, and exhaustion, headaches. She is now more energetic, fatigue is not there, sleep is excellent, concentration improved, and she has the will to live and be productive. She said, "My doctor, I am ready to fall in love again now." She's 72. "Since I have so much energy after your treatment." All these testimonials you can see on our YouTube channel, all videos and also written testimonials. This is what our European patients speak about us. "I didn't have the energy to get out of bed. Now I'm taking dancing classes. After COVID, I felt no will to live. I could not be sexually active. I was so depressed. Now I'm having a second honeymoon with my husband. I had severe skin problems after Corona. Now my skin is perfect and I can approach girls without shame." He's a young boy, 20 years old, from Montenegro. "My husband had COVID pneumonia. I took Ayurveda since the 10th day of his infection. I did not have any symptoms. He recovered after 5 days with no further complications. My grandmother of 89 years of age, with history of asthma, used only your medicines. She just had mild symptoms and her lungs were not affected at all. With Dr. Raghavan's therapy, I did not have any symptoms of COVID. I took the therapy immediately when I felt body pain. I had symptoms for 3 days. After that, I felt perfectly all right." These are some of our patients' testimonials. Now I would like to explain to you our treatment approach. Why is it actually unique? What do we focus on? It is a holistic approach to curing COVID and post-COVID syndrome. Classical Ayurvedic treatment, specific yoga and exercises for post-COVID, dietary restrictions, inner transformation, prayer, pranayama, and meditation, and tests regular monitoring of inflammatory markers. Comprehensive Ayurvedic treatment for COVID-19. We focus on mental health, first to remove fear, psychosis that COVID-19 cannot be cured, because that is not true. As doctor said, COVID can actually be a blessing in disguise to help cure the primary condition the person had. Focus on lives unaffected, even when exposed to virus. Create awareness on clinical successes of Ayurveda in treating COVID-19 and other diseases that modern medicine cannot handle. show that Ayurveda builds immunity to face current and future viral mutations. Then we focus on protecting our digestive system, to regulate the food intake to maintain the gastric fire. As you could see from our testimonials, regulated food regime is one of the basics of our treatment, and also to hydrate sufficiently to enhance immune functions. Then we have to protect our respiratory system. Clear nasal passage with crushed black cumin, yarrow flower, or blackened thyme. On our website or also YouTube channel, you can find a list of herbs that can be used. Depends on which part of the world you come from. Pranayama and voluntary hyperventilation. Then we have to sanitize mouth and throat, medicated salt water and gargling, and Dathathreya. Minimize airborne corona. We use medicated smoke and medicated water vapor for that. Key to successful Ayurvedic treatment for COVID-19 is identifying specific herbs that will address the unique health needs of an individual, and also to equip the person to prevent further progression of the disease. These are the words of our doctor. Why is our treatment unique? Uniqueness of the Dathathreya Ayurveda treatment for COVID and post-COVID. This is entirely based on pulse examination. We don't have a treatment that can be given to everybody the same. No, every patient has unique treatment, unique medicines, unique exercises, everything, based on doctor's pulse examination. Diseases and symptoms of post-COVID are fever, dyspnea, brain fog, dizziness, weight loss, skin rashes, joint muscle pain, difficulty in swallowing, heart palpitations. We have treated all of these in Montenegro. Root causes for that are overnutrition, poor hydration, pharmacy toxicity, muscle weakness, toxins, incompatible and unhealthy food habits, tissue damage, oxygenation is low, damage to the gut microbiome. Herbs are prescribed to resolve the root cause and development of the disease. We never gave any modern medicines with our treatment. What have we learned actually from COVID management? We have learned a lot. First, COVID is not a lifetime sentence. COVID-19 infection and post-COVID lingering symptoms and complications are both completely curable. The key is in the proper treatment. Holistic approach is crucial to fight COVID infection and post-COVID syndrome. Use no drugs or use only for emergency conditions. Overuse or improper use of modern medicines can lead to grave consequences. As you have seen from our case studies, people who use antibiotics, they recovered slowly. The focus must be first on diet, fast, and the fever and the severe cold. This is the time the gut microbiota is inactive, reduced, affected. Then slowly include light diet to build and restore the functions of gut microbiome. Always maintain fluid balance. Exercises must be fine-tuned to the symptoms of the body. Herbs that boost immunity are your best friends. If COVID is properly treated, the body will use it to your advantage, even to cure pre-existing symptoms and diseases. If treated wisely, COVID can be a blessing. For the example, this lady with cerebral palsy, after COVID, she got depression. After that, she enrolled to university, and now she is one of the best students there. Secret to post-COVID treatment is now within our grasp. All it requires is open mind to accept a new paradigm and the courage to challenge conventional methodologies and thought processes. As Dr. Raghavan says, now we have wars around medical systems. We need bridges. Ayurveda needs to be integrated in all branches of medicine to enhance the efficacy of medicine. Mankind yearns for medicine that is effective and safe. Ayurveda, the universal system of medicine, is the solace for mankind. We are preparing for the upcoming book, The name is Healing is Possible in this COVID World, where we will gather interesting case studies on holistic treatment of COVID-19 and post-COVID followers in Europe and India. Experience tells you what to do, but confidence allows you to do it. With this line, I would conclude this presentation. I hope you have learned something new, that new horizons are open for everybody. Now I would like to open a discussion. If any one of you has any question for any three of us, we are open for discussion, questions.
Let's give a big clap to Dr. Raghavan and his colleagues.
Thank you.
So the topic is open for discussion. We have received many questions too, but you can directly ask to Dr. Raghavan. I've
Yes.
received many comments by email and by the chat box and my email, more in the email I got. So please, maybe I request Dr. Sebastian to start.
Thank you very much, Dr. Raghavan and team. Congratulations for your hard work in this very critical time to treat COVID patients. Since I am also now in Europe and I know the situation here, same like in India, not only corona, but also we are also facing many post-coronary patients with post-coronary symptoms and complaints. I have one question. The Government of India, Department of Health, Ayush Department has given clear guidelines for the prevention, treatment, and also post-COVID treatment. Your treatment portfolio agrees some of these guidelines, or do you have your own portfolio?
Dr. Sebastian, I have to tell the truth. These are basically made with arbitrary understanding. There is no proper discussion with people who are capable of treating COVID. Nobody was allowed to treat in this country. More than 8 lakhs Ayurvedic qualified practitioners were there. They were not allowed to do anything. From where they got it? In all these discussions, have you ever heard one word, the fundamental rule of Ayurveda, that is Tridosha? They never mentioned that. What is the diagnostic tool? Is it standardized? Nothing. It is quite arbitrary. I have to tell the truth.
But thank you, Dr. Raghavan, but these guidelines are given by the Government of India.
Yes.
Yes.
How it was made?
Yes.
What was the basis? They have to quote the text and they have to show the results. Simply, initially they're not allowed to do anything. One fine morning they started giving standardization, just mimicking the Western world. They have nothing in Ayurveda. Please go through that. It is not based on any scientific principle enshrined in Ayurveda. They have become slaves of modern medicine and restrict the possibility of Ayurveda.
So what is your kind advice? What can be done to change this situation?
This is very simple. Very simple. I can suggest hundreds of methods to understand the phenomena of virus infection, virus mutation, and the causation of the complications. Everything very simple. Something is very simple, then nobody will listen to that. That's what happened. It's not a big thing. When compared to previous pandemics, this is easier. But they made a mole of a hill. People were dying only because of fear.
And also overuse of antibiotics.
Overuse
and
of
steroids.
misuse and overuse of antibiotics.
And steroids.
So medical companies were very eager to sell their medicines. Many antiviral medicines are being showered on patients. They could not sell it for MS patients and so many other viral diseases, but they took it as an opportunity to sell these medicines. How many protocols were there? They were changing many things. They never followed the scientific understanding of the scientific world at all. It is only for selling the medicine. People were intentionally frightened. There was no solace from any source.
So actually, compared to our work in dengue, during the dengue epidemic and chikungunya epidemic, the management of patients with COVID-19 infections was much more easier for us, even as a team to support, because the generalized rules as far as diet restrictions are concerned, rest is concerned, it was all so clearly given by Sir to us. And we could advise patients, even we were just trained by him as public health workers. And we were able to help a large number of people with very simple preparations. People who are very far away, who could not receive our medicines on time. Even with things available at home, they could come out of the COVID problem and not have lingering symptoms in the future. The whole thing became a mess only when people had to be moved to hospitals or given large number of modern medicines. The mess actually started. This is the truth. Unfortunately, that is the truth.
Thank you very much. We cannot fight against modern medicine. We have to go
We want to integrate. We don't fight.
So
that is not the
we have to find some way.
It is assimilation and not dissension. We are ready to assimilate anything good. That is Indian thought.
So all the inflammatory markers we tested in most of our patients before and after. If the temperature goes more than 103 degrees, we ourselves requested them to have paracetamol. It happened only in 1 or 2 cases. Patients who require oxygen support, we were giving them within our hospital in Kerala. So we are not against modern science, but there's overuse. I want to give an example of my own brother-in-law who lost sense of smell as well as taste when he had COVID infection. And then he did an online consultation with the doctor, but no other symptom he had. Very light fever and only that much. He was prescribed 2 antibiotics and 1 steroid. And a person who has lost only smell and taste, why he must be prescribed 2 antibiotics and 1 steroid? He did not take that. He took only Ayurvedic medicine. Within 7 days, everything was okay. In our own experience, patients who have taken more amount of these medicines, the recovery process for them were longer. The post-COVID complications lingering for them were longer and more in number. So, when antibiotics and steroids are not having any effect on the virus, and no research has even now accepted that, why it was given is the question mark. At least through experience it must work, or through research it must work. These are the tough questions of COVID management which we cannot ignore.
Thank you.
Now, more questions from the audience. Dr. Indulekha, you have some questions, Professor Indulekha?
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Professor Indulekha, please.
I had 2 questions actually. One is regarding Tridosha and the other is regarding the dietary restrictions. One of which I understand was do not overeat or rather undereat. Now, it was noticed that the mortality rate as well as severity rate per capita was very low in, I think, African countries as well as India. can you correlate, mathematically correlate the dietary restrictions from Ayurveda with the lowered incidence and, let us say, severity in some countries? That is one question. The other is regarding Tridosha. Now, COVID has, I don't know. I don't know whether I am correct here, has dominantly lot of kapha based symptoms, I guess. I don't know. I am not an expert. Uh, I have heard Dr. Valiathan, and he speaking about why Ayurveda finds difficulty in getting accepted in modern medical circles. It is because modern medicine quantifies, and you have, bullet points. That's the way things are written down or papers are written, while Ayurveda is usually qualitatively mentioned and learned directly from experience and apprenticeship working with an expert Ayurvedic physician. So, does COVID offer an avenue for quantifying at least maybe the Kapha aspect of the Tridosha theory? These are the two questions. Thank you.
Dr. Indulekha, it's a very relevant question. The Tridosha is not properly taught in our Ayurvedic institutions. It is still in a confused state. So if you start Tridosha, teaching them, that requires a lot of balance and integration of the science. That is why even the authors are not willing to enter into Tridosha theory. They say it is a conundrum. It's a hornet's net. We don't want to enter into it. That is the attitude. And the most important tool in Ayurveda is pulse examination. Please understand that. Most simple and precise tool that is not included in the curriculum. Then how can our children treat, our Ayurvedic doctors treat patients? They have become subservient to modern medicine. Our own system of examination, system of diagnosis is there, that is totally ignored.
Somebody's mic is on. Continue.
That is why. This is both sides. We must understand the evolution of modern medicine up to 19th, 18th century. It was almost like a art. Then 19th century, it became a science. By the end of 20th century, it is a technology-based industry. It is run by corporates. Now the corporate interest prevails, not scientific interest, no human interest, nothing. So dosha, the tridosha is the building material of your system. Human system is built up by tridosha. Dosha, dhadu and mala are the same thing in conversion, in action. So everything, every life activity can be analyzed in the light of tridosha. Every activity. All the even research results we can analyze on the basis of tridosha theory. It's a universal phenomenon. The entire science is based on that. All diseases can be treated on the basis of dosha, tridosha. Dosha samyam arogadaha. The balance of three doshas is health. Dosha vaishamyam is unhealth or roga. Very simple. So no disease is free from dosha vaishamya. Health can be established only by established dosha samya, balance of the three doshas. Kapha, Dr. Indulaya has said kapha because it is acting through the respiratory tract. That doesn't mean it is a kapha roga. The interaction between the host and the agent will be different in different persons. That's the most important thing. That is forgotten. Only for one ill, there must be a pill. That is not possible. That concept should change. Modern approach also should change to impart health for everybody. Everybody is not same. People are different. Yoga Pinnarujihi. Their attitudes, aspirations, constitution, everything is different. Unless you develop a method by which you have to treat the patient and not the disease. Modern medicine is oriented only in disease. For every disease, they want to find out one medicine or one protocol. It is impossible. It is high time to realize that. Unfortunately, our government missed a chance. India would have been the sanatorium for all affected people to save the whole world. This was a golden opportunity. Unfortunately, we missed that. Even now that opportunity is open. No, many are suffering even now, all over the world, without any remedy. So there must be, if required, any research, we are ready to open to that. But without forgetting the principles of basic principles of Ayurveda.
Raghavan, she asked one more question, correlating with the food habit. Look at the Africa. Africa, the mortality rate was not very high. Look at India, compared to our population, the mortality rate was not high. So can you make some correlation with the food habits? Indira also asked about it.
High income countries, mortality is very high. It's an observed phenomenon. Why in Italy, I have seen people eating burger when the peak of the temperature. After eating burger, next day die. It only because the basic principle of Ayurveda is Agni Samrakshanam. The duty of the Vaidya is Agni Samrakshanam. Preserve the gastric fire. That should be always burning. In any disease, there will be an implication on gastrointestinal system. Protect the gastrointestinal system. Protect the Agni of the person. Protect the life of the person. That is Agni. Agni, Bela, Varna, Vardhanam. Any Ayurvedic treatment, if it is correct, all the three should occur simultaneously. They should feel healthy, they should feel stronger, their complexion should improve. Then the treatment is correct. All our patients you must have seen, they gained all the three. Agni, Bela, Varna, Vardhanam. If that is achieved, any system, that is the parameter by which it is be judged. Can you cite any modern medicine? A person achieving Agni, Bela, Varna, they feel hungry, they feel strong, their complexion improves. Can you cite one medicine as a modern doctor? We can achieve that.
One more thing I want to add in this. One of the instructions that we were giving to patients when they had fever or severe cold was to fast. So recent research in gut microbiome has told that you all know that the gut microbiome is a host for trillions of microorganisms and they play a crucial role in our health and disease. During infection, what happens is that the amount of gut microbiome that is there, the number actually starts reducing. And this is because an interleukin-1 is actually being produced in the gut. And that is the reason why these microorganisms are affected and the number is also reducing. And if you see in our human body, when we have infection, we feel less hungry. We don't feel appetite. We don't feel like eating. And unfortunately, in modern science and also modern approach to life, they actually force people to eat when they are hungry, when they are having infections. That is against even what your body wants you to do. What the research is also showing how this microorganism is functioning in our body. And because of this wrong eating habits, unhealthy eating habits, incompatible food that people eat, the deaths are happening in other places. This is one of our observation. You can add more to that.
So in our Ayurveda, Aushadhanya Viharanam Upayogam Sukhavaham. Aushadha, these are medications, properly selected medicines for that patient, for his conditions or her conditions. And na means food. Vihara means your routine. All the three should be well tailored, then only the result will come. If it is in disharmony, the balance cannot be brought.
One of our patients with a history of tuberculosis, and when he had COVID-19, doctor actually asked him to fast for more than a week. It's very difficult to fast for such a long period of time. But the patient actually went through it, and he was calling the patient 3 times a day to check on him to make sure that there is no giddiness and related injuries and people falling down and all these things. And after the period of fasting, when he was satisfied through pulse examination that the patient is now ready to eat, he himself prepared food for him, a particular diet which is very common in our South Indian kitchen, rasam. He made it with kodampuli so that the agni can be ignited back. And the patient had dined with us. And after that, slowly he put him back into the diet. And when we repeated the scan, even the old scarrings of tuberculosis had gone while curing the COVID-19 infection. So that much is important is how you manage diet of the patients. Only because that is not managed, number of deaths as well as lingering COVID symptoms are happening.
Very good. More questions from the audience?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, very good answer. Yeah. More questions. Dr. Jos Chathukulam. Mrs. Preeta.
There is one question, sir, about safety of Ayurvedic drugs. We got the message.
Yeah. Please comment on that. Safety of, many people are concerned with the safety of Ayurvedic drugs. I'd be very pleased if Dr. Raghavan can comment on that.
So any system of medicine, not only Ayurveda, if it is not used properly, that can cause harm. Ayurveda is not an exception. But when compared to the modern medicine, the difference between Ayurvedic medicine we are using, everything is naturally existing. The life system in the universe are acquainted with all these things, one way or other, surrounded by them. So these medicines, Ayurveda prefers the grahyamsham. Big part of that plant is to be used. We are using medicine plant, mostly plant origin. Plant origin in isolation, maybe something is toxic. We are not using isolated substance. If you are using guduji, that guduji whole extract is taken, water extract. It is not alcoholic extract. When you analyze it, we may see some toxic substance in isolation. That doesn't mean that plant is toxic. That is a wrong approach. How the gastrointestinal system digest it and make it part of the system. Ayurvedic medicines are digested and assimilated. And it is system friendly, please understand that. It is safe. Whereas modern medicine are alien to the system. All medicines have to be metabolized and thrown out from the system. it will never become the part of the system. That's the essential difference. It will not harm the system at all. It is system friendly. That is why we can restore health completely with Agni, Bela and Varnavardhana.
In this, I want to add one thing. There is a mass consumption of Ayurvedic herbs now because government is also promoting through its protocol this type of herb is good for this type of herb is good for that. Giloy, Guruchi, Amrita is one of the things that is prescribed to be used. There are different varieties of Giloy that is available. There is one thing called Potamrida,
Yes, it's toxic.
which is toxic. And many persons who collect these kind of herbs are not aware that these kind of different types are available in the nature. Same way, when you consume pre-prepared medicines from shops, nowadays the nature does not produce that much that is required for people to consume. Say, for example, Bala Rishtam. Bala is not available. Good quality Bala is not available, but they are making tons every day. Dashamula Rishtam. Dashamulam is not available. Doctor always comments that if I get 100 kilos of Dashamula, I will give 1 crore rupee. Because good quality Dashamulam is not available. But in tons, they are producing every single day. Ayurvedic manufacturers are producing, and that is causing other complications. And now there is a drive by many persons that Dashamulam is causing liver cirrhosis among people. So these kind of things, it's not a problem of Dashamulam. It is just that it's not available in nature. There is a huge demand in the public. So something is used to make that product. One thing that I have seen Dr. Raghavan do, and we really appreciate that as a team, is that he gives less preference to pre-prepared medicines. He always encourages people to collect. Many of this COVID management can be done from herbs available that is accessible to people in different locations. Even in Europe, many herbs that are available in your garden can be used for your treatment. If you are in India, in southern India or northern India, specific herbs available in your garden can be used. In that way, it is very safe. And incidentally, we also want to mention that our herbs, our pre-prepared medicines, which we take from India to Europe, are all tested in public health research ecotoxicity department in Europe, and it is cleared for its safety and efficacy. But if you don't have access, you cannot buy ours. I'm just saying that whichever preparations you're buying, all possibility, collecting from your own garden, from your own sources, is far more safer than any pre-prepared medicines and far more effective than any pre-prepared medicines.
It will be the most inexpensive treatment. Inexpensive. The whole COVID treatment, including management of COVID complications, it will be less than 500 euro at the most, or 5 euro.
Thank you. We have a question from Professor Thangaraj. Thangaraj has raised his hand. Professor Thangaraj, please, from Chennai. Professor Thangaraj, are you connected?
Yes. Can the team suggest...
Thangaraj, can you speak loudly, bit loudly, Professor Thangaraj?
Yeah. Can the team suggest medicine, food, or how to prevent the COVID through food?
How to prevent COVID through diet?
Is it your question, Thangaraj, how to prevent COVID through diet?
There is no specific diet for COVID. To protect your gastrointestinal system and maintain your health, there are many dietary systems are there, depending on the season, ecosystem, and so many factors we consider, and depending on the condition of the person, we can give dietary formula for each person or family. That is possible. Diet is a medicine. and medicine should be diet. That is the words of Hippocrates. Now there is no restriction at all. You can eat whatever you want. Even if you are not hungry, eat, because temperature goes up. That requires a lot of heat, a lot of calorie. You must eat. This is a actually what is a very blunt and irrational approach.
Thank you. There is another question I'm going to read. Does the COVID, the question is from Mridula. Does the COVID virus trigger cancer genes? Is there any relation between cancer recurrence and COVID?
So it is well
known. Any such case studies, Dr. Raghavan?
Yes.
An alternate effect.
Yes, it is there. Not COVID as such.
For cancer patients.
For chikungunya, when I examined the patient from Alleppey, I gave a press note. This virus is worse than hepatitis C virus. It is so harmful and it can invite cancer. My professor shouted at me, Dr. Parakat. I told my professor, so please understand, I was in that area. I was examining patients on the basis of pulse examination. I narrated all this as a warning, not to frighten the people. And he told me, doctor, it is wrong. I am ashamed that you became my student. For declaring cigarette smoking is harmful to health. It took 40 years to declare. That was his answer. One day you examine some patients and you tell like that. After 6 months, I requested my humbly, doctor, please suspend your judgment now. Please wait for some time. You will understand that. Exactly happened. He called me back and told, you are right. Many of my patients, they were not having any background of cancer. They got cancer now.
What about COVID?
COVID also, it may be same. It is not by any infection which produce inflammation that will pave the way for cancer. It's a common knowledge. Inflammation is the basis of cancer. So any inflammation produced by virus can lead to cancer. If you properly treat that chance, that opportunity, that possibility can be completely addressed successfully. It will not happen.
Right. Do you have any special advice for cancer patients?
Yes, cancer patient, most important thing is fear. Cancer is just like many other diseases. Cancer means immediately it is death, see death. Nothing else.
Right.
If that fear is removed, all the conditions will come down. We are treating cancer patients in modern India successfully. We ask them, certain people, only we advise chemotherapy. You go for, depending on the stage of the cancer and the person's condition, you go for the chemotherapy and come and start our treatment. Don't go for any preventive chemotherapy. Surgical removal or chemotherapy once or twice, minimum number. And start Ayurvedic treatment. That will improve, promote the health. What we want is promotion of health. And lot of monitoring methods are there. Monitor the condition. If at all modern medicine is required, start modern medicine. Our interest is health of the person. We are not fanatic like any religion. It is science, open-minded. Vano Bhadra Pradavo Yantu Vishwara. That noble thoughts come from all sides. We are ready to accept that. And always I insist that you have to learn all the contemporary sciences. Understand it. It is a part of Ayurveda. We are always ready to accept. We have no opposition of any system. Any system we analyze in the eye of Ayurveda, if it is acceptable, that is Shruti, Yukti and Anubhava. Shruti means whether it is mentioned in the Vedas, Yukti means your own reasoning and your own experience. All the three should agree, then we will accept. Otherwise, we will not accept.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. There is another question from a European colleague. He asked a very important question to Dr. Raghavan. Dr. Raghavan, you have wonderful results with the herbal medicine. Have you probed the mechanism of action of these herbal medicine?
Yes, definitely.
It's a very interesting question.
In our language, in Ayurvedic language, I can explain. Not in the analytical language of modern, no. If anybody compels that, I must follow the modern system and modern principle alone. Forgetting Ayurvedic principles, it is not possible. That is equal to killing the science. We have got shining capabilities to understand the disease, and we know when we give a medicine to a person, how it works on the system, and the system will work on the medicine. Both we know. Then only we give. With clear-cut understanding we give. And it is, we can, predictable. The results are predictable. That predictability is not there in the modern system. If a patient comes, if you treat this with these medicines, you will recover within such and such time we give. For mentally challenged children, we give the exact number of days. If you treat this medicine for 500 days, for 1,000 days, or 5,000 days, you will improve.
So you want to say that you cannot give an answer in a mechanistic pathway as in the case of modern medicine, right? You cannot do that, right?
We can do, definitely. If somebody is interested, we will do that.
Okay, that's what he's trying to.
We are always open. Any research, any test, we are open. But they should not impose, you do only this. That we will not accept. Because in independent science, we have got our own way of diagnosis and we have got our own way of prognosis. If it is shown wrong, we will rectify. They cannot do that.
There is one question. Those who are suffering from pre-existing inflammatory diseases like autoimmune disorders, for them, what kind of Ayurvedic therapy and management could be suggested once they will be exposed to COVID-19?
So they will be examined thoroughly. They will have special attention and monitoring. And we will be more careful in assessing their conditions. Our observation will be intense in such conditions.
So there are three things: Aushadha, that is medicine, diet, as well as what activities you can do. About activities and diet, we have clearly shown in our presentation, which is quite general. Aushadha, sir said, the patient requires to come through a pulse examination or through an online consultation. And based on that, sir will mention what medicine can be given to taking into consideration the pre-existing autoimmune disorder. But one thing through our experience we observed through treating a lot of patients, COVID can become a blessing. We are the only persons who are actually telling that. And incidentally, we met one patient also who told that to us. In Delhi, we met one patient. If COVID is properly managed, if a person gets COVID infection and it is properly managed, the pre-existing condition, autoimmune or whatever it is, they will be faster recovery even in the pre-existing condition. So this is our experience in many patients.
In Cambodia also, so many patients recover.
Because the body is very alert at that point of time. You have got an invasion, a foreign invasion is happening. The body is very alert. And during that alert stage, when you give the proper Aushadha, Anna as well as Vihara for that body will help in healing, not only or fighting, not only the infection, but also the pre-existing condition. So that is the only way we can explain in simple
Yes,
language.
another thing, Ayurveda is a holistic science. the conceptual canvas is so wide, much wider than the modern medicine. Please understand that. It discusses many things, epistemology, existence, psychosomatic, and so many things are discussed in Ayurveda. That much wide canvas is not there for modern medicine. It has got thousands and thousands of years of existence, time tested. Everything exists in the nature is a medicine, provided it is used properly. Improper use, even medicine can become poison. Proper use, poison can be medicine. That way, white canvas is there. Our pharmacy is so rich. All the herbs, all the material available in the nature can be used if you understand the condition of the patient and the method of action of the medicine on that system. That can be used as a medicine. We are using so many herbs in Europe which are not used there. With the Ayurvedic understanding, we collect those medicines and we prepare. We have got hundreds of preparations.
More questions? We have Tara. Tara, you have some questions, right?
Hello, sir.
Please, Tara, please interact with the Dr. Raghavan.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, myself, Tara, student of Professor Sabu Thomas. Sir, I have a question regarding vaccination. Because in vaccination, actually, we use modern medicines for vaccines. So, is there any remedies that we can use with Ayurvedic plants instead of these vaccines?
Altogether, avoiding vaccine, I am not for that. If a vaccine is proven and it is useful, definitely that is better. That is accepted by Ayurveda. But I have got difference of opinion for COVID because before the advent of COVID, the vaccine manufacture started. And within a year, we have produced hundreds of type of vaccines and more than 18 or 19 are on test now. Why? And first instance itself, they declared that there is no, we cannot develop immunity. Only with vaccines it can be done. Vaccine promotion started at the instance of advent itself. What is the rationale behind that? So protective mechanisms, protective medicine, I told in the very beginning, we can develop resistance, that is Vyadhikshamada in the initial starting. Symposium is not, we have not, there is a way, there is a concept in Ayurveda, it is Vyadhikshamada. The system will not react at all, ignore, and the agent cannot do anything. There are many cases in our practice. These short powers.
Incidentally, the next person is asking a question. Could you suggest some methods to improve that immunity or to gain that Vyadhikshamata?
Vyadhikshamatvam, and the most important thing is to improve general health. General health. That's the most important thing. And you must have proper sleep, proper routine, proper ahara, and a wholesome sex. That is also very important. Unhealthy sex will invite so many diseases. All are the brahmacharyam, ahara, vihara, nidra, all are important. We have to well tailor all these things and lead a life without stress. Before bringing down stress, only belief in God is the most important thing. Ishvara pranidhanam, surrender to God. then you will gain strength. A person who believes in God, a believer, will get relief faster than anybody else. The surrender to God is the most important thing. And all religious scriptures give us strength. If you have no belief in God, your immunity is much less. There is nothing to support you. The belief in God is very, very important for life. Unfortunately, modern medicine cannot understand that. Only with prayers, many are recovering. Many. They don't want to take any medicine. Only prayers. That is also accepted in Ayurveda.
Any other questions, sir?
Any more questions? We have several people still in the, I could see, I'm going to see. There is another question, Dr. Raghavan. Did you combine, there is a question from another colleague from Europe. Did you combine both Ayurveda and allopathic drugs?
No,
Get
no.
some synergism.
No.
There is, you can get synergistic effect. Have you ever thought of doing
But I
that?
am not interested in that. In theory, we can.
He means not in COVID management.
Not in COVID management. Many things. Modern medicine is very helpful for Ayurveda. Because I am a modern medicine doctor, I studied modern medicine, I got this much confidence. If I was only trained in Ayurveda, I will never have this much confidence. That gives you strength because we experience everything. Most of the abstract things are not experienced. These abstract things mentioned in the Ayurveda, with modern eye, modern vision, we can understand in a better way. We can appreciate our acharyas much better than you study only Ayurveda. Modern medicine is an eye opener. It gives strength to the Ayurvedic physician. They have to learn most of the principles of modern medicine to understand that and integrate that understanding, not mixing the medicines. There may be synergistic action, but it should not be done. I have done certain conditions when I was in medical college. 2-3 instances were at that time for tuberculosis. The most important medicine was only streptomycin. There were certain patients. They were so much resistant. They could not tolerate. I have given some medicines for them, and they could take two doses per day. They never developed any complication, and their condition improved within a short period. That possibilities are there. For that, there must be open research. Researchers may bring out so many things. Modern medicine will be benefited more with the help of the integration or understanding of modern medicine of Ayurveda, understanding of Ayurveda for modern medicine. Both will become better to increase their efficacy of treatment, increase the confidence in treating. So these are mutually helping. We must have open-mindedness. We should not be blind. We must be ready to expose to possibilities. That is what lacking now. Whatever be the best examination we taught that IAS officer, 52 patients suffered from a special virus developed in Bengal virus, very deadly. In the very beginning, I thought it will be harmful. Please use Ayurveda medicine only. We will give you medicine at your doorstep. You need not pay anything. But only one person followed. The information given in that is not complete. Now only 4 persons are alive. That are so in hospital. All of them are dead. We foresee that. We requested, begged. They never listened. They were not ready to open to possibilities. That is the darkness spread by modern medicine. This is the only system. All others are harmful. That is absolutely wrong. You must be ready to open to possibilities. That is why human beings developed this culture and civilization. Everything because of response to stimulus.
There is, Dr. Raghavan, there's a very interesting question from Assam.
Yes.
Sir Partha Palit from Assam. I will read the question. Sir, those who are suffering from pre-existing inflammatory disorders like autoimmune disorders,
Sir, we answered.
for them, what kind of Ayurvedic therapy and management could you suggest once they will be exposed to COVID-19?
Sir, we already answered.
Answer. Okay.
Answer.
Okay. There is another question from a European colleague. Have you looked at the post-COVID issues when you treat a patient with herbal medicine?
Yes, all patients are examined either directly or by video conference. Then we decide and suggest the medicine.
Sir, you meant have we treated post-COVID cases?
Yes, post-COVID
Yes, sir, we presented that in this presentation. More than 500 cases we have treated, and their case studies and testimonials were presented today.
Right. And he's also asking another question. The same person is asking another question. How about people with the comorbidities, particularly diabetic patients?
So first thing is that already diabetic complications, microvascular and macrovascular complications are there. That is to be reversed. So 50% of the pharmacy we use for reversal of the diabetic complications. Diabetic complications are not reversible in modern system. We have treated many diabetic complications, including microvascular and macrovascular complications. That possibility is there. We use that first. When they become better, we will whole pharmacy support will be for the other disease. That is the way we do.
Sir, I want to repeat here about COVID management. When you treat COVID properly, the pre-existing condition will also resolve fast. So COVID infection will become a blessing for you if it is managed properly. So in diabetics and diabetic complications diabetes can be completely reversed through Ayurveda, and diabetic complications can be successfully managed by Ayurveda. And if a diabetic patient gets COVID infection, then the recovery time will be shorter if treated properly for COVID.
Right. There is another question from Merin K. Epen. Sir, could you please suggest some methods to improve immunity?
Sir already spoke on that also, sir.
Okay. Perfect. Dual Thomas, did you answer that? Dual Thomas, modern science says that microbials are constantly evolving. Can Ayurveda account to microbial evolution?
Definitely.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Can you elaborate further, Dr. Raghavan?
All, for example, stem cell therapy, the cancer therapy, and chelation therapy, person therapy, so many are there. All are being suppressed by modern system of medicine. If we collaborate with these systems, the results will be much better.
Microbial evolution in Ayurveda.
Definitely. Microbes have been mentioned in Ayurveda thousands of years back. There are krimi, it is described in the Krimi Roga. There are krimi, it is bacteria, all microbes will come under that. Saukshmyat, Adarsanad. There are a lot of microbes which cannot be seen with naked eye. Now we have endowed with so many microscopes. Now all the advances in modern system are useful for Ayurveda because Ayurveda is so wide, the canvas is so wide, conceptual background is so wide. We are ready to accept anything good. Our interest is mankind. Our life is devoted for the saving of mankind. That is the only interest. We have no other interest at all. That must be the attitude of Ayurvedic physician. It should not be for money making. It is for sacrifice. An Ayurvedic physician has to sacrifice his interest. Otherwise, he cannot be an Ayurvedic physician. Everywhere sacrifice and love for the patient, empathy for the patient. That is an essential factor.
Yes, yes. And another question, a European colleague, he is asking, Dr. Raghavan, you are doing wonderful work in Europe and India. Why are you not putting clinics all over the world? Why are you not doing that, saving the life of the people? What prevents you doing that? It's a very interesting question.
We are ready to do that. All the 24 hours, we are ready to do for that. Rest, without rest, we can do. Yes, we are interested in that. It is our Swadharma. Swadharma nidhanam sreya, paratharmo bhayavaha. When we examine patients, we gain strength. We'll never become tired. We are ready to do that. There must be platform. Even do wherever is possible, we are doing. We are traveling all over the world. It can be much more with modern technology. We can increase 100-fold. And we are ready to teach.
So now he
is ready to learn.
Do you have any master plan for that? Popularizing your methodology, do you have any master plan?
People like Dr. Sabu Thomas must do that. I am ready to do anything. Whatever you suggest, I will do. Don't worry about my age, my health condition. I am ready to do everything.
Right.
By the grace of God, I am much active than young youth.
Right. Dr. Tangaraj, you raised your hand again. Do you have any more question? We have another friend from Poland, Professor Maciej. Professor Maciej, do you have some question?
Can I now?
Yes.
Yeah. Kerala, there is a high incidence of COVID-19 compared to other states in India, and success rate is also high in Kerala. Now, I want to know which method was successful in Kerala, whether it is Ayurvedic or allopathy. This is my question.
Mostly people's common sense.
Mostly people's common sense. Because most of the people who landed in ICU, they developed respiratory complications, and more than 80% will succumb. People who are not treating with modern medicine, they are using their common sense and regulation in food, and they use some simple extracts or herbs. They know very well. Traditionally, they use that and they save themselves. If you don't land on medication, then only the trouble will come.
In Kerala, we have the biggest advantage than other states, many of the other states. We already have Ayurveda in our part of our life, in the way in which our parents brought us up with our grandparents' recipes. So when you get a cough, cold, fever, they already know what to prepare at home. And that is really protective. And that is what we think.
And they resort to fasting.
Eat less. So the one question is there, if you didn't have much symptoms, does it mean that your body or health is not affected much by the virus? Or how can we know that more care is required?
And that is very, very important, pertinent question. If some conditions, you may not have symptoms, but your inflammatory markers may be very high. In that condition, you must test inflammatory markers, and they should be brought down with Ayurveda. Then that will save you from many other complications later. So everybody should have a thorough laboratory examination. And we have to consider the elevation of inflammatory markers as a warning sign. If the temperature lasts more than 20 or 30 days, that must be a warning signal. They must be treated with Ayurvedic medication properly. So the other harm can be averted. The possibility is there.
Any more questions, sir?
I don't know this question. Somebody has asked it. What about vaccination? What is your opinion?
Vaccination, I told you, it is not well proved.
ആയിക്കോട്ടെ ഞാൻ
Everybody,
വിളിക്കാം, ശകലം കഴിഞ്ഞ് വിളിക്കാം, ഒരു മീറ്റിംഗ് വിളിക്കാം.
everybody claim that it gives immunity and case fatality rate comes down. There is no paper, no research completed in that direction. There are anaphylactic reactions of vaccines. We have seen many. One health worker known to me, after injection, after vaccination, and that table itself, she passed away.
Sir, generally we don't support vaccination.
Okay.
Yeah, shall I ask one question?
Please, sir, please.
See, I have basically two questions. Number one, what type of restructuring you are proposing for the entire health system in the world, very general, and in a country specific? What type of restructuring of the health system as a whole? What kind of things there?
Please make it, please, Secretary.
What kind of restructuring?
Restructuring of the health system.
Yes.
Restructuring of the health system. Now the point is that there, see, all the countries, what we can see that there, they are giving so much of importance to the health structure at the top, but not that much of importance at the basic level. This is what there my question, first question. After that, I will pose one more question also. Thank you.
Yes. The most important thing in health is basically you must be free from stress. When you do something and thinking you are doing, then when the ego comes, your health will erode. If you do as a yajna, whatever is you are supposed to do, it as a surrendering and offering to God, your stress will not be there. For removing stress, the only way is belief in God, surrender in God. I told you at the very beginning. If you don't surrender to God, your health is at stake.
The sir is telling that mental health must be one of the forerunners in any treatment, and the principles underlying mental health management must be based on Ayurvedic principles and yoga and yogic principles.
So, to prevent diseases, promote health, maintenance of health, everything, the most important factor is God-fearing, belief in God. He is controlling everything. He is the controller. We are an instrument at the hands of God. If you develop that thought, that is a great protector for you, both physical and mental.
And in mental health system, prevention, promotion, and protection of health must be given more priority than curing diseases. Even in curing diseases, at the first stage, holistic treatment must be given priority than just popping in a pill for the disease and getting over with it. It doesn't work like that. When it results to a high amount of complication, at that time, maybe integration to some extent is advisable.
Yes.
Yeah, my second point, doctor, very recently, I visited the School of Latin American Medical Sciences, which is located at Havana, Cuba, where in that medical institute, and have a discussion with the doctors and the medical students, I could understand, though they are practicing purely of modern medicine, there are number of practices of Ayurveda is also incorporated in their medical system. But they have no idea about it is Ayurveda and all things. So 2-3 things I can tell you. You mentioned about the passion, commitment, sincerity as far as these issues concerned. That is very much there. Like a see Ayurveda system, that kind of compassion to the patient and doctor relationship is that much, very close. That I can see that there's some good elements of Ayurveda. Second point, what I have seen that there, instead of using modern equipments, modern technology, they used to just touch the patients, some kind of a semiology which they developed. Semiology. That is also, I could say that there is a part and parcel of very much close to Ayurveda. But you are aware of that, how these main principles, these principles of Ayurveda, how it incorporated in the Cuban medical system. I felt it very interesting. I talked to them. I told them that there, you see, you have to study the Ayurveda system so that you can understand these kind of issues are very much popular in the Ayurveda system and all things. I have a discussion with them, the Latin American School of Medical Sciences professors and some of the students. You are aware of that, anything on the Cuban medical system? Thank you.
Cuban medical system, I have got tremendous respect. In COVID infection itself, they have showed a way to the world how to rescue them. They gave a place for that ship to the patient. One ship that disease spread in the ship. No country provided the landing space for the ship. They accepted them. They treated them completely, and they returned them to Europe or Great Britain or London by their own money. This small country. I told this is an example for the world. We have got 1,000 times more potentiality to do the same. So we can attract, or we can give sanatorium for all the affected victims of COVID.
So
we are well equipped to do that.
There are 2-3 observations, sir. When some patients come to our center, doctor actually touches them, examines them, and spends some time. And some patients actually tell us, no doctor has touched me. No doctors, he just looks at me, I say, I have pain here, I have pain here, I have pain here. They just write a prescription and ask us to go. No, the touch you give to a patient to examine them, the time you spend, the way in which you interact with them actually cures a lot of disease. It gives them a lot of solace. And that is the first step towards treating a patient.
See, you are very right. The same thing the Cuban doctors also made the comment that first a patient comes to our side, we touch the patient. We try to understand, then we will mark it. Then if anything is needed, we use the modern kind of tools and other technology. And finally, we say that there is no wide difference between what we got the first through kind of a touching the body and examining thing. There will be not wide difference. So they have developed a kind of a technique, methodology or something. It is known as semiology. It is very, very sound. My request is that Dr. Raghavan's group also should make some kind of a collaboration with the School of Latin American Studies located in Havana and Cuba. It may be a very good contribution. I have seen that there, as far as modern medicine is concerned, nowhere in the world incorporated the basic and good principles of Ayurveda. That is what the major achievement of the Cuban medical system. Thank you for your observation.
Thank you very much.
So we'll love to have the contact.
There are some questions from Dr. Ashok and team. Ashok, please. Yes.
Yeah, namaskar, doctor. I am Ashok from Mumbai. I have very good respect about Ayurveda. And because what I observed and I experienced, in most of the cases, allopathy gives the symptomatic treatment. Most of the diseases are treated against the symptoms, but I don't think they are going to the root cause. But Ayurveda, I think it is one of the only the faculty where they work on root cause that I respect very well, and I like your way of treating to the patients. But out of it, I have a question regarding this COVID. Many of the people in the world, I mean, in India and in whole world, most of the peoples have taken the vaccine. So, how we don't know the possibility of, or we don't know the side effects of the vaccines because it is not totally proven. So, is there any remedy or is there any solution or way of medication to avoid the possible side effects of vaccines?
Definitely. We have done it. We have done it about 10, 15 cases in Kerala itself. After vaccination, some people develop fatigue and malaise as if they have got COVID. These are post-COVID patients. After vaccine, they get more symptoms. We can easily treat them and cure them. That possibility is there.
Okay, so side effects of vaccines can be managed,
Oh, yes.
managed, can be
Yes.
treated.
Almost same as COVID management.
Okay, but some serious side, if some serious side effects are there, then
That also can be treated according to the condition of the patient.
okay,
Our armament is so rich, so wide, so powerful. We have no dearth of medicines. We can handle any disease, anywhere in the world. This is all encompassing. We consider the regional importance, ecosystem, everything. The medicine given in India is not the same for Australia, not America. All are different. We consider the ecosystem also. Medicine will be different. It's Ayurveda is a universal medicine.
yeah. But my question is what? Okay, some people may get some side effects. They will come to know afterwards, maybe after 6 months or maybe after 1 year. So how to protect, how to avoid?
Keep that there must be a close connection with the doctor who is practicing. I told you, tuberculosis. My professor was having this problem. The streptomycin was not received to the patient. All complications were there. But with Ayurvedic support, he could administer the medicine without difficulty. These type of conditions will be there in many conditions. Many medicines cannot be taken. Most of the antibiotic reactions can be prevented with Ayurvedic support. So modern medicine can be used in a better way with Ayurvedic support.
The general medicines we don't have. That's what sir is trying to tell. In case some complication is there, be in touch with the physician.
Case-wise.
Case-wise, we'll be able to help. Even there are cases where MMR vaccine is told to cause autism. The debate is still going on. But with Nadi Pariksha, sir has identified some patients to have got this autism because of this vaccine involvement. And autism is treatable in Ayurveda. So
Okay.
even something as grave as that is possible. Post-COVID lingering symptoms or any vaccine-related similar symptoms can be easily managed. So don't worry, sir.
Sir, even now, we are in a very debilitated state. Still, we are strong enough to address any condition anywhere in the world.
Okay.
This is the mother of life sciences, even now.
Okay. Okay, sir. And another question. Thank you for the answer for the first question. And my another question is, just before, ma'am has said that many of the medicines are not available in Ayurveda now, like Dashmula or something, and ample of medicines are getting manufactured and getting in the market. So, what is the solution for this? If Dashmula is not available, are there any alternatives are available? Or this is an example. This can happen with many of the medicines. So most of the medicines are outdated or maybe not available.
We have to develop an analytical method. We have to analyze samples of ingredients used. Simple. Then most of the institutions, the medicines are not available. Bela Arishtam can be made without Bela. Dashamula Arishtam can be made without Dashamula. This is happening everywhere. For decoction, we don't get Dashamula.
Sir,
For few grams.
So you take a simple example, even adulteration is there in the food we eat. Honey you take, how they make honey. For the bees, they give a set of sugar pot, and with that sugar pot, bees are making honey. And within the beehive, they put antibiotic steroid strips, and so that they produce and work harder to produce honey. The level of adulteration, we are gone beyond human imagination. It's not just only in Ayurvedic medicines. So we must be very careful about the source of the medicine we get. We must have confidence about the maker of the medicine. We must have opportunity to test it. Then if you're confident, you can have it. There are many persons who make medicines by their own hands, sir, even now, but not in big quantity. For example, we are not capable of producing in tons because nature does not produce. Even today, if you have to make oil, we can make only 80 liters, 70 liters. Only that is possible for us in one lot.
We never sell any medicine, only for treatment.
Once
we
you
cannot
go into
manufacture.
mass selling, then you should always suspect those kind of quality of those medicines.
If you get some medicine, Kavanapras or Dashamula Arishtam from 5 shops, see that simple taste, it will be different. Nothing will be uniform. Why? Its preparation is different, heterogeneous, and they are not using the medicine properly. Is this happening?
Yeah, so then again, it's a question. If we buy some medicine from the market and there is a big list inside, so okay, hundreds of ingredients are there. So we are worried really all these are there or not. Just mention on the paper. So again, this is the question mark.
We never prescribe any classical medicine.
Okay.
We give the prescription to the patient to make. If they are to use it for a long time, we give them all advices and help to make the medicine for them for 1 or 2 years. We help that. We never allow to get it from the shop.
Right now.
Sir, one more question, small question. It is related to the COVID. If some patient is got serious and admitted in the hospital and is on a ventilation and given a lot of allopathic medicines and some steroids, so he's in a critical situation, say, my question is whether it is possible to bring that patient back in a normal situation by Ayurveda?
Definitely, we have to examine the patient. Case-wise, we have to give. In ventilator, we can do a lot successfully to bring back the patient comfortably. We must have our own ventilator.
Yes, if home ventilation system, if they are on ventilator at home, in home ICU, the possibility of success is little more higher because in hospitals it's very difficult to give Ayurvedic medicines within ICUs. Very difficult. We lost 2 cases only because of that.
Yeah, but in certain cases, say you are staying in Kerala and some patient is in Europe or maybe in Delhi or in North India and it is a night time. So how they will contact and get the help from you?
We have an online discussion, always alive. You can contact, we can extend our service to them.
So we will
That's no difficulty.
try our best.
Okay.
Can I go to the next question?
Yeah, now see, Partha has, Professor Partha raised his hand. Professor Partha from Assam, Sangli University.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, Dr. Raghavan, thank you for your nice information related to the Ayurvedic management on COVID. As a pharmacology background, so we are working on also different medicine from different sources for medicine development. So we have seen major challenges regarding the Ayurvedic therapy, the standardization. That means some herbs, when we are preparing for polyherbal formulations, so same herbs they are executing and the different degree of variation of the pharmacological effect once it is plucking or collecting from one season or different geographical locations. So how these issues we can manage during the treatment. Sometimes some patients, they are complaining that earlier batch we have got very nice results with that tonic, but in the second time it is not at much satisfactory results we have not got with the same formula, master formula.
Or
So
I can
we,
give one example. For example, the fruits
yeah,
collected during the full moon phase, during full moon, that will be more effective. If you collect the medicine in new moon phase, that the effect will not be there. So lunar association with medicines are very high. So we collect medicines, certain medicine collect in certain time only.
okay,
Time is very important. Time of collection and time of and the way of protection for keeping the medicine, everything is very important. And people collect the raw medicine and keep in bundle for 2-3 days. It will die out. It produces lot of nitrogenous waste. It is dead. Even our vegetable we cannot use after a few days. So the medicines are to be protected and medicines are to be respected. The respect must be there. In Aushadhi Sukta in Rigveda, we make pardon, apology to the plant and we collect. It is because of extreme necessity we are interrupting your life. Please forgive. It is a pharmacology of 30th century. That means respect is given. Aushadhi Sukta, just to go through that. How much respect we give to the plants. Even 1 gram is not wasted. It should be fully used.
Sir, once Dr. Raghavan prescribed in one kashayam to a set of patients Brahmi.
yes,
He collected and to me made kashayam at home. One set of patients he prescribed, they told they had severe vomiting. And that was not one of the indicated side effect of that medicine. So when he explored, he found out that Brahmi that was supplied to these people was collected near a school. Paper factory.
Affluent water.
And it is
water.
yes, it is a water plant.
Yes.
And those kind of plants, when we also use Brahmi in our preparations, we make sure
Yeah.
that we have our own cultivation of Brahmi, and from that we make our medicines, because the source is very important for Brahmi,
Yes.
water type of plants. If it comes from wrong sources, it can be highly toxic in nature. So
Yeah.
sources in every, so the location is also very important.
Very, very important.
Very important.
And echo variation was accepted by Ayurveda the very beginning, thousands of years back.
Right. Now we will go to Professor Tangaraj question. Professor Tangaraj has one more question. Tangaraj from Chennai. Professor Tangaraj, please.
Sorry, I don't have a question, please.
Okay, because you raised your hand. Okay. Any more questions from the audience?
There is a person called Joel Thomas.
Yeah, Joel Thomas, yes.
As you had already said, one of the main key to healing is God belief. What is the Ayurvedic approach to non-believer? With such a point, can Ayurveda be universal and inclusive to all population?
Yeah.
There, the tapas of the Vaidya, if he is compassionate, that will help. Even if an atheist we can treat. But Charaka insists that an atheist should be avoided. A non-believer should be avoided. For life-saving we can do, that's all.
So ethics, those who are, not believers, they cannot depend on Ayurveda, Dr. Raghavan. There is one more question by email. He's an atheist. He said Ayurveda, he cannot accept Ayurveda. He's asking a question.
Another very important thing, sir. Nobody can be atheist.
He's a European colleague said he's an atheist.
Misunderstanding. Everybody accepts that I am. What is this I consciousness? Even in sleep, you are aware.
Right.
In sleep, Bhava Pratya Alambana Vritr Nidra. You do not know who you are. You are vice chancellor or academic achievements, everything goes. But that witness is there. That's why after sleep you say, I slept very well. Who is that? In Shastra says, Sushupte Yoga Avashishta Shiva Kevaroham. That is Shiva. Who can deny that? The consciousness, when you are witnessing yourself, all your biological rhythm, activities, everything is controlled by that. Abhava Pratya Alambana Vritr Nidraha. In that time also you are alive. That living force is God. Sushuddhyo ego avashishta shiva kevaloham. That is God. Who can deny that?
Yeah, it's clear now. There is one more question. Dr. Blessy will read that question.
Doctor, how to have excellent mental health? What are some simple Ayurvedic principles we can follow for the same?
Yes. At first you have to understand what is mind. Ayurveda is the only Shastra which declared mind is matter. Mind is matter. Apanchikrita bhutam. Shabda sparsha rupa rasagandham. These are the seeds of our sensations. So mind is matter. That dichotomy is still there. Even Freud could not answer that. Platonian principles, they did not answer. They have mind and spirit and matter. They do not understand that mind is matter. That is apanchikritam. So the Panchabhuta system, Prithvi, Ap, Tejo, Vayu, Akasha. These are the 5 elements of existence. This evolution. Akasha is completely free. It gives space for existence. Akasham avakasheti. Vayu. Akasha is that it is Shabda. Shabda Tanmatra is Akasha. Vayu, it has got Sparsha. That's why when wind is there, air movement is there, we feel with our skin. Sound also is there. That sound is from Akasha. From Akasha, Vayu is originated. From Vayu, Agni. Agni has got Shabda, Sparsha and Rupa. From Agni, water. It has got Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa and Rasa. When it comes to Prithvi, it is pentavalent. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa and Gandha. It is pentavalent.
Yeah, it is clear now. It is clear, Dr.
Clearly it is said in the Bible, you are earth.
Yes.
Because it's Panchabhautik. The Bible declares that man is Panchabhautik.
Right.
In Genesis also same, how these Bhutas, these Panchabhutas originated. Simply go through the Genesis in Bible. You can understand. Simple.
So, Dr. Raghavan, there is another interesting question by a North American professor. why are you not making a network of Dathathreya clinic all over the world? Why do you focus only in Montenegro? Why can't in Canada, in US, all over the world? Why are you not making a network and train people?
Montenegro I love because I was directed to go there by my guru.
And he's asking, why not all over the world?
Yes,
Conquer the disease.
I am very poor in computer. I don't know anything from computer. Anybody who is ready to help me, I am ready to sacrifice anything for that. There is no difficulty at all. There is no bar for me at all. I'm completely free.
Right. And he's asking, why not a Dathathreya school all over the world and make a huge network?
You
His
can
North
do that.
American purpose is asking.
It's quite possible. The moderns, the technology is very, very helpful to spread the science. They are ready to do that.
Right. Let me see any more questions. Yeah, one more question. Yeah. Wait. Yes.
Dr. Raghavan, my question is, do you oversee any fertility issues because of COVID?
There are. If you ask Elena, she will give you enough.
Fertility issues.
Yes. It affects the genitourinary system. Their sexual will completely goes. Yes. There are many erectile dysfunction. Many are having that. It is being restored in many cases in the usual course of Ayurvedic medication.
Also, there are many cases like we all know that because of COVID, we lose like smell. But have you noticed a change in smell? Like the smell of a flower is suddenly changed to something else?
Yes, alterations there. There are many. Very fragrance of these cosmetics, they feel bad smell, foul smell. That also is there. Altered smell, that can be treated. No one in our treatment suffered from loss of smell and taste for long. When the symptoms go and the inflammatory markers come to normal, this smell and taste also come back.
Very good. Any more questions? I don't see much questions in the chat box. You are free to ask questions to Dr. Raghavan. You have many people here. Divya Nair is there, Sadika is there. So we have lots of people still. Any more questions? If not, I will ask Dr. Blessy to summarize and conclude this very, very interesting workshop on COVID. Dr. Blessy, please.
Good evening, everyone. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Sabu Thomas, the guest speaker of the day, Dr. Raghavan Ramankutti, and Ms. Sharda Raghavan, and colleagues from abroad, Dr. Sebastian Matthew, and all other distinguished delegates who are listening to us today, and dear friends. It was an immense pleasure to host this meeting in the banner of IAU CNN. We all know that we have been affected by COVID for past few years, and all our life have changed drastically. And hence we thought of, because most of us have been facing with post-COVID complications recently. So Professor Thomas took this initiative to organize such a meeting. First of all, may I thank Professor Sabu Thomas for sparing his valuable time in spite of his busy schedule to organize this meeting and take necessary steps to ensure that the meeting was conducted properly. Thank you so much, sir. And we oversee more of talks of this kind that is beneficial to the whole society. And we had an eminent speaker with us. We have been associating with Dr. Raghavan for quite a few years. We are privileged to have listened to many of his talks for all these years as a part of the conference that we wish to conduct. I thank Dr. Raghavan on behalf of all those who have gathered here for all the steps you have been taking for upholding our health perspectives all these years. He have dedicated his entire life to this Ayurveda. Thank you so much, Doctor, that there be more people like you who will work selflessly for the benefit of society. Thank you so much, Dr. Raghavan, and Ms. Sharda Raghavan have been contacting me for past 1 week with regard to this talk, and I thank her for her timely support and advice whenever we ask her anything, or whenever we need some sort of help from her. She's always there to help us. Thank you so much, Ms. Sharda Raghavan. And I also thank the colleague of Dr. Raghavan who made the presentation today. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a wonderful experience listening to you, and the slides were really excellent, and it definitely benefit our students. I also thank Dr. Sebastian. He is our lecturer and our collaborator. He is none from outside, but he's always part of our group. I thank you so much, sir. I know it's a different time in there, but still, you always take find time to listen, to participate in our activities. Thank you so much, Doctor. I also take this opportunity to thank each and everyone, because it's almost more than 1 or 2 hours, but still you have been patient enough to listen to this topic, very interesting topic. Thank you everyone, and my friends who have helped to organize this meeting. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. And those who really want to interact with Dr. Raghavan and Sharada further, you can contact them by email. Thank you.
This Shanti Mantra we will close.
Okay, thank you.
Om Asatam Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Oh, we would like to see Dr. Shaji Kudiyat. Dr. Kudiyat, would you like to say something? Yes, we could not see you.
Hi, nice to see you.
Yes. Shaji, we cannot hear you.
Thank you. I was joined little late. That's why I'm keeping quiet because.
Oh, we were all looking for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
We had a wonderful discussion meeting.
Yeah. Thank you for arranging such a wonderful meeting, and we, Dr. Sabu Thomas, Dr. Sebastian, all are taking much time in organizing such a holistic. And I also thank Dr. Raghavan and Sharada Raghavan for coming forward and making such a presentation. All the best wishes for Dr. Sabu Thomas to arrange meetings again and again to nourish our minds and share this kind of information for the awareness of the people around the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening, Dr. Shaji. Bye-bye.
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 Thank you, sir. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, sir.
Comments. Thank you, Dr. Jose. Yeah.
Dr. A.M. Jose. Every one of you, mostly for Dr. Tabu Thomas, for initiating all these things. He is so great. I pray for him. That's the only thing I can do for everybody. I pray for your health, your well-being, to Almighty. Almighty bestow the blessings on all of you.
Thank you. Nice evening.